Hey everybody, welcome back. Today I am making with you the Noodlehead open wide zipper pouch. This is the size small, and you'll see I did the contrast bottom. I will link to the pattern below. It's a free pattern available on Noodlehead's website, and when you click to the tutorial, you're gonna scroll down and you'll see her size chart. You have to click another link and it'll take you to the different size chart. So like I said, I made the size small, and it's a great, I don't want to say scrap buster because 7 by 10 inches is not necessarily a scrap, but it's not a bunch of cork. But this is a great beginner project. And again, so I did the split, and then it has a 3-inch base. I have one that I've been using for years and years for my makeup bag, and so it's just the perfect size pouch. Here's my hand for reference. It fits so much stuff in here. They're super quick to make and fun to customize. The pattern does show one end of the zipper trailing off, and obviously I did not do that. So feel free to mimic that as in the original tutorial if you care to. And that's it. To make the open wide pouch, you need to have your liner, your zipper, and your outer. You can see I'm doing a two-tone here, just like the ones that I showed you before. So the top is going to be tan and the bottom is going to be black, and the website has the dimensions for that, so I will link that below. But you can see I already have mine prepped and ready to go. And what I did is I cut both the pieces, I folded them right sides together and stitched with a 1/4 inch seam allowance, and then I butterflied the seam open, and then I stitched down either side of it on both of them. So the next thing that I need to do is add my tag. And I'm just going to glue this on what is going to be the top section. And I lined up my 1/2 inch seam allowance, or I lined up a 1/2 inch on my seam here, and that's where I'm placing my tag. So I'm gonna pop to my machine real quick. I'm not gonna show you this, but I'm just gonna go stitch my tag down and I'll be right back. So the next step that we need to do is glue our zipper into place. And I'm gonna do a classic zipper sandwich. And I'm gonna use my glue. So put a thin line across the top. And then your zipper is face down and my zipper head is to the left. I'm using a zipper that is slightly wider than the width of the bag. So that makes sewing easy because I don't have to worry about sewing over the zipper stops. All right, and then next we need to glue our lining on top of this. And then now we just go and stitch across this here. I like to stitch with my cork side up because I find that leaving this unlined, it can bunch as I'm sewing from the weight of the presser foot and the feed dogs, so I always sew cork side up. And I'm gonna sew, I'm lining up my presser foot on the top right here of my pieces, and I'm just gonna make sure that my foot stays in alignment with this line here. So now that I've got that top stitch, or I've got that stitched, what I'm gonna do is, holding my lining down, I'm gonna reach in and grab my zipper and flip just the exterior up and over and then finger press. This is how I do all of my bags, so if you've ever made my mini box tote or the wristlet clutch, you're familiar with this. And now I'm just gonna top stitch this down. And I lost bobbin roulette, so I will be right back. All right, so I'm going to try this again. trim my threads here. And then this lining just gets flipped onto the main. Alrighty, next step is to repeat that same process but on this side of the zipper tape. So I'm going to apply my glue to the top of the remaining exterior panel. And you want to be sure that you're lining up your outside edges, the right and left edges, with the panel that we've already done. Flip, and then glue your liner. So same as before, I'm stitching on the cork side, lining up my presser foot to the top edge. All right, so just like before, I'm going to reach in and flip just the exterior panel up and over and finger press, and then top stitch this into place. Next, what we're going to do is we have our panels all sewn together now. So you're going to flip it, make sure your zipper is unzipped, and then fold your exteriors together and your liners together. And we're going to clip this into place. And I'm going to be really careful to line up my seams on the split panel here because you want them to be as lined up as possible. This one is a little bit off here, but that's the seam that we want to be straight. And then we're going to do the same on the lining. And so now what I'm going to do, when I go back to my machine, I'm going to start stitching up here on the long edge of the lining. And I'm going to start at the top and sew in and then start my seam. And it's going to create an L. I'm also going to finish it on this side the same way. And what that'll do is later in the video, whenever we flip the bag right side out and we have to turn this raw edge under to finish it, what will happen because of the L is this fabric will fold right in on itself and make it a nice, easy fold. Another thing that I'm going to do is on the lining, I'm going to make my seam allowance much wider than I am on the exterior because that will allow the lining to nest nicely once it's all said and done. So you can see down in there, oh my goodness, sorry, my dog just coughed. You can see down in here that the lining sits nicely in there and there's no bunching. So now I'm just going to trim my zipper tape down, and then I'm going to just pull these seams in a little bit. And then I'm going to really trim down my lining. Okay, so now to create the boxed bottom, you're going to reach in and unzip your zipper. Maybe up here. And I'm going to start on my exterior, and I'm pulling my fingers like this in the corner to pull the box seam out. And I'm just feeling my way around in there, and I'm aligning my two seams. So if you butterfly your seams, when you start pushing, you can feel the two seams butt up against each other, and that's where I'm going to clip it. And then I'm going to mark a 3-inch line because I want the bottom to have a 3-inch depth here. So that's what I'm marking on this boxed edge. And so an easy way to do that is I'm lining up my seam line here. So this stitch line, I'm lining up at what would be on a 3-inch scale on the 1.5-inch line. And then I'm going to mark where the 3 inches intersects with the box, or with the corner. Come on. And then that line, when I sew it, so I don't know if you can see it, but my chalk line, see right there and right there, I'm gonna sew across that, and that will create the 3-inch box. While I'm over here, I'm gonna do all 4 corners. It helps if you kind of tug on the bag and crease it so that it lays correctly. So on the lining, I'm gonna make the boxed bottom slightly smaller than the 3 inches. So it's coming in at right at 2.75. And I'm doing that because, again, it'll make it nest nicely once it's flipped. All right, so that we have all 4 of our corners ready to be sewn, I'm gonna pop to the machine and sew across all of the boxed edges that I just made. So I'm gonna start with my exterior. And so when you fold it down, just make sure that you're pulling your 2 exterior pieces away from each other, and make sure that you can feel that seam, that it's aligned. Because if not, then your bag will sit at an angle. So you want it to be straight. And then I like to throw some back stitches in when I'm going over these seams here. And then of course at the beginning and the end. And so now I'm just gonna do that, hey guys, for all 4 sides. Okay, so now your bag looks like this. It has these ears on all 4 edges, and it's sitting it's puffy. So we just need to trim down our ears here, and I do about a 1/4 inch on the exterior. And then just under a 1/4 of an inch, I guess it's like a fat 1/8 kind of seam on my lining. And so now what you do is you're going to reach into the birthing hole and you're going to push the exterior out. You do want to be careful when you're doing this, otherwise you're going to rip your seams here at the birthing hole. So be gentle if you can. I left my birthing hole probably about 6 inches wide or so. So you're just going to poke your corners out with your fingertips, and then you can see you've got nice lined up bottoms here. This is a little bit off. That side's a little better, but nice boxed, or the nice seams on the bottom, and that's because I was shifting and making sure that they lined up. So poke out your lining sides here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to reach my fingers into the birthing hole that's right here and just fold it in. And you'll feel that it naturally takes the fold from the L shape that we created before. Pin that into place, and now we're just going to go to the machine, and I'm going to stitch all the way from the boxed corner seam line to the other one. I know it's kind of hard to tell with this fabric because it's kind of an optical illusion, but seam line to seam line. All right, so the last step to finish this bag is to tuck your lining inside. And so I'm using my fingers and I'm pushing my boxed corners down and into the corners of the exterior. I found a rogue thread here. Trim that guy down. And then I like to poke my corner out, and then this one, to mirror the fold, I'm going to just push it, kind of pinch the cork to make it train like that. Go on, guys. And then zip it closed. And there we go. So you can see the lining nest super nicely in there, and the pouch itself opens up nice and wide, which is really fun. You could, if you wanted to, trail the zipper off each edge if you wanted it to hang. Obviously I'm not covering that in this video, but you could do that. And yeah. I hope that you guys enjoyed this fun, quick tutorial on how to make the Noodlehead open wide pouch. Do me a favor, leave me a comment below, and be sure to join my Facebook sewing group. I will link it in the description box. I would love to see your creations. I hope that you guys are safe and happy and healthy wherever you are. Until next time.